Do not attempt to adjust your podcast player. We are controlling the transmission. We are here to be your guide, helping you to explore local events, the art scene, music, theater, sports, and possibly a conspiracy or two. All here on the GCRX Radio and Podcast Network.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to In the Metro. I'm your host, Chuck Hill. Joining us as always, coming live from QOB, Kim Pearson.
Hello, hello.
We have Engineer Bill over here. And tonight, a week early, but oh, so worth it. Mr. Nick Drago is joining us a week early tonight.
Good evening.
How's everybody doing?
Great.
Good.
Awesome. Kim, how was your Easter?
It was good. I know it was a long weekend for a lot of people, but this weekend just zoomed by.
Yeah. Do you guys celebrate Easter? Or was
We
it
do.
just
I went to my sister's, did the whole, we did barbecue this year instead of the ham.
Oh, that's different.
Yeah, it was really good.
That's what we did. Did some barbecue.
Okay, yeah, it was just that time of year. I think we're just so ready for spring.
all right?
Yeah.
Very cool.
What'd you do?
So
Did you hide Easter eggs for the little one?
Easter eggs were hidden.
Oh.
Yes, Easter eggs were hidden. Saturday went to Lincoln, Illinois. Miss Rebecca, found a vehicle she liked. We went up there, and I'm going to brag a little bit. I did a little wheeling and dealing, and stopped some scamming from going on. To be honest with you,
There you go.
All
yeah.
right.
Well, it was nice because she's been looking at this vehicle for a while, and they held it for her, and they only had one key, so talked to them a little bit. And we're like, hey, since you've only got one key, can you knock $100 off, for the one key? And like, yeah, we'll do that. So then we're sitting in there, and she's purchasing the car and everything. And like the numbers that they gave her didn't quite match up from what, we had talked to the guy early on. So I'm like, can we see an itemized, like an itemized of the charges? Oh yeah. So she gives a paper, and there's like almost a $200 charge on there for a theft device. I'm like, car's not being, financed or anything like that. I'm like, what is this? And they're like, well, we do an etch on all the windows. So, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, we didn't ask for this. This wasn't talked about on here. And so, well, we do that to everything. I'm like, I looked at Rebecca. I'm like, this is up to you, but I would not pay for this. I would have them take that off. The girl got like visibly upset, because she had to take that off there. But I'm just like, that's like, I consider it scamming people. You don't talk to them. You just kind of hope they're signing papers. And that's what gives dealerships a bad name.
Sure.
Absolutely.
When they try and sneak shit like that in, and it's just not cool, but so we did that Saturday. Sunday we did, the church and Easter and Easter eggs and things like that, was just a whole lot of fun. We did that. And then actually it was nice outside. So we went kite flying. Also,
wow.
Nice.
How nice.
I haven't
Yeah.
done that in years.
I
Me
know,
either.
right? It's one of the nice things of having, someone that you can do that with, So I mean, it was really cool. Like, yeah, had a blast.
Oh, cool.
Very nice.
You still have little ones, Bill. Did you, I
They're
don't
not
know,
little anymore.
not little enough to hide
No.
eggs or anything?
No, but we did go to my parents' house, and they did hide some eggs out there for my little nephew. So that was kind of cool, and just kind of chilled. And I was worn out from church. We had 3 services, and it's exhausting. I always tell myself that I'm going to take that Monday off from work every year. I'm like, oh man, next year I got to make sure I get in and put Monday off, and I always forget. And then I always regret it afterwards. I'm like, yep, forgot again. Cool. Oh, well.
This
was
was
a good
the
time.
first year I did not get my kids an Easter basket. And yes, they're grown. One even has kids of his own. But still, I've always gotten them something along the lines. But this year, I took them to Quick Trip and filled up their gas tanks and said Happy Easter.
that's very nice.
That. Yeah.
One was $89 and a penny for his truck.
89 and a penny.
Yeah.
Oof.
So the other one has just a little Kia. So his was about half that. And I just put some cash along with that to get a second tank.
All right.
But yeah, that
So you're a
was,
fair kind of mama, right?
I try to be, but not to the penny. I go with the needs at the moment.
Okay.
Listen, I need to be adopted. I'm gonna get me one of those trucks, those old ones that has the dual gas tanks. Hook me up.
Nice. Hey, Nick, how was your weekend?
Oh, it was good. Hung out with my girlfriend for a couple days, and we all went over to my mother's yesterday. Did a barbecue. I made, for Easter, I made drumsticks with hoisin sauce. It's really good. Yeah. Hoisin, soy, and garlic. And I just mix it up and use it like a barbecue sauce.
Oh, sounds
Nice.
Grilling the wing legs. Yeah, really good.
Well, you're a bit of a cook anyway, right?
Oh yeah. I've been
What's your
cooking
favorite
for
dish to
years.
make?
Probably braised lamb shank.
Ooh.
All right.
Yeah, with like wild rice and something.
Nice.
Yeah.
You do the mint jelly and everything, or
No, I do that with like lamb chops.
okay?
But this is braised lamb shank, like in a you sear it first and then you cook it in a liquid in a slow cooker.
Nice.
Yeah, it's killer. It's really good.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, guys, I want to, we're kind of starting things a little early this month with Nick coming on. He's got a lot of like hot stuff that we're talking about, everything from the Baltimore Bridge incident. Are you able to connect this with
Mainly-
the Oklahoma thing also? or-
Oklahoma. No, there's been an Ohio incident. that
Ohio.
I-
That's
yeah.
where it was. Okay.
Yeah, there's one little thing I know about that. I'll get into that. But yeah, there's all kinds of things going on right now in the entertainment industry, and
yeah.
with
Diddy and
P
all that other
Diddy, and
stuff. Yeah.
and then there's the eclipse coming up that people are kind of conspiracy world is all aflame with
no kidding,
with that.
man.
So there's a little bit of that I could get into, but mainly I want to talk about the Francis Scott Key Bridge incident that happened last week. Now when I fell down this is a bit of a disclaimer. When I fell down the conspiracy rabbit hole a long time ago, I used to cover this information, on a podcast. I used to cover this information differently than I'm going to cover it right now. I got really excited seeing these things, you know what I mean? And a little angry. And instead of asking questions about it back then, I kind of just declared, no, this is what it is right here. It's a government psyop, and this is a satanic ritual, and this is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've really kind of taken a step back from doing that now. Some of the things I talked about made me appear a bit insensitive, you know what I mean? Because I was talking
Gotcha.
about mass shootings that I didn't believe really happened. I thought
Like
they were
Sandy Hook and
staged and
that.
that kind of thing. Yeah. So, and that's kind of when you say something like that, you really have to tiptoe around it, because you could, people might find that offensive or just like ugly, and just like they just turn you off.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? They make and they turn their mind off to that being a possibility. Well, anyway, tonight I'm just going to talk about the things that I see with this bridge incident and other things, mainly the movie Leave the World Behind,
Yes.
which I talked about that a few months ago, and I said something is going to happen. Something is going to happen very soon about all this. Okay. Well, now we have a ship that has lost power. We saw that in the video. Have you all seen the video?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
So it loses power. I don't know if those ships have smoke coming out of it I don't know why they would have smoke coming out of it, but it lost power, just like in the movie thing. It steered into something and caused some destruction. Now, what's strange about that, I don't know where to go first, but okay, a month ago, we had an outage, cell phones outage. Right? Okay.
Mhm.
Some people blamed this on hackers. Some people blamed it on solar flares.
Right.
There
That
was
seemed to be the cover story.
there
The solar
was,
flare seemed to be the cover story.
yeah, and there was no really official answer. But during the phone outage, we had people that came forward, mostly on Reddit and stuff, and they had received text messages with weird symbols. And it's kind of, if you want to look at the one of the pictures I sent you it's probably the last one with it was a picture of like notifications on a cell phone.
Oh, okay. You know what?
And it's from Leave the World Behind. And the last one on there I think it's from Washington Post, and it's just what looks to me like gibberish. It's not any kind of writing that I'm familiar with. Well, these people during the outage were getting text messages like this. and they were running them through translators. And one of the main words that kept coming up was bridge. All kinds of stuff about this bridge. Don't criticize the bridge. The bridge is high. Very simple kind of statements, but bridge, 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 bridge. You know what I mean? So I thought that was very strange. Also, in the movie, you see, as soon as I talk about how everything is blue in the whole movie. As soon as you know, I mean, everybody's wearing
schemes and numbers,
right. Everybody's wearing blue in the first. You see the 6 o'clock, 6. You see 666 in the beginning. Well, 8 people were on the bridge, and this is at the time of this podcast. 8 people were on the bridge. 2 were rescued. 6 died. Okay, they recovered 3 of these men I know, and their pictures they put on and I have that picture in there too that I sent you. They're all wearing blue. What else we got?
Is that the picture of the dad?
This is the 3 guys that died on the bridge, and hold on.
Okay, Engineer Bill will have that picture up here in just a minute.
Which one is that?
It's the one with the I think it's the black one. It's got here, I can throw it up there. It's number 1.
Got it.
Now, 1 month after this movie came out on Netflix, now I don't know if you all remember the Tesla scene.
Yeah.
But they're all the Tesla. They kept crashing into each other.
Blocking the road.
Yes. A month after the movie came out, there was a Tesla recall of a bunch of cars because of the autopilot function. Okay. Yeah.
I know I paid super close attention because when we talked about it, I had not watched it, and when you said the blue and the number 6, and I paid super close attention, and exorbitant amount of blue in that movie. And 6 all over the place. I'm like, wow, this is really weird.
And it's the frequency of that color, which is the significance, correct?
I think it's something like it's 6, I believe. The Francis Scott Key Bridge hull is blue. Now, Francis Scott Key, you know, that's the person that, for those of you that don't know, he wrote the Star Spangled Banner.
Right.
Okay, well, in Ohio, the bridge incident was in Independence, Ohio. That's what I got. You might want to fact check that one. I did not fact check that. I heard that somewhere. And Dolly is the name of the ship that the cargo ship, and that means drawn of God. Just thought I'd say that. But now, if you look at this, is really scary. If you look at this picture that I sent you, it's a magazine cover of The Economist. There's a lot of different symbols on there. Okay,
it's got to be number 3.
There it is. Right there.
Yeah, that's the one. Now, that is the magazine cover of The Economist, and it's, I think it said the year ahead, 2024. Now, if you look carefully at that, in the middle, okay, actually you see Zelensky and Putin up there, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, above Putin's head you see Trump. Above Zelensky's head you see a woman with a ponytail, which is strange to me. I don't know why. But anyway, below Putin there's a graph. Okay, and it looks like whatever the graph is depicting is crashing.
Right.
Okay, look next to the graph. It looks like a cargo ship.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, I wonder what
Wow.
I mean, we all know that the eye over there, you know, like the all-seeing eye,
Yeah.
I think that is over there to the left also.
So
looks like there's all kinds of symbolism going on.
You can't unsee it though. Once it's
right.
You can't unsee it.
And you got the eclipses up there too. You see the black and white,
and the time.
Yes.
The hourglass.
Yes.
And it
it's
looks
running.
like missiles, and
it looks like it's going into a ballot box. In the center is a ballot box.
Yep.
See that?
If you look at the hourglass also, you'll notice that it's short on time. Like there's
good one.
Like the abundance of time is down at the bottom.
Well,
but
that's
at the
scary.
top, it's almost like time is running out.
That is scary. Let me tell you the scariest part about this movie, because I watched the movie today and preparing for this, and there's this one scene that's just not explained, and I haven't heard anybody, covering it on any weird conspiracy podcast talking about it. It's the planet Earth from the vantage point of the moon. it's as if you, but it's as if you were standing where the astronauts allegedly, stuck the flag. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's basically showing you.
I love it. Allegedly.
It's showing you planet Earth in America, but right next to the flag on the moon. But the way that the camera kind of pans, the sun is here, the Earth is here, and you're on the moon, so it looks like a giant eclipse. Which is a week from today.
Yeah.
I heard some scary things about the eclipse.
It's funny because they're all over the place with the eclipse. I
Uh-huh.
mean, you've got the doomsday sayers that are out there like, this is a big deal. X marks the spot from the last time the eclipse came to where it is now. And I think you've got people talking about the biblical names of cities that the
Little Egypt,
the path of totality is
Salem last time.
Yeah, things like that. And I just, it's all very interesting information. And just to give a quick plug here, next week we're actually going to have Jesse Tedder from C3DC on to talk about the eclipse and does it offer any kind of significance, religious significance or anything like that, because you literally have everybody out there saying that this is a big deal, and like the timing of the eclipse and like, wars and just stuff like that. And then the religious aspects of it. And I hate to break it to everybody, but, and Jesse can correct me on this next week, whatever. First of all, end of times, the United States got nothing to do with that.
Nope.
That's all Middle East. So if you think that, all these things and stuff here are going to happen here in the States, not happening. If you're a biblical believer.
Like what do you mean? Like
end of days, all that crap
locusts and stuff like that?
What's that?
Locusts and that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, we may, like, the States may be a victim of all that, or part of all that. And then again, that all breaks down to whether you're P, post, or a trip. I mean, but
well, all the significant all the significant biblical things that have to happen before the rapture, the signs occur with events happening in the Middle East.
It's all over the Middle East. I mean, it goes back to the days when they were saying Ronald Reagan was the Antichrist, and that Donald Trump was the Antichrist, or any Republican sitting president is going to be the Antichrist, right? I mean, that's just what they say. But yeah, the solar eclipse thing, you're right. Everyone's saying all kinds of stuff about it. It's a neat event. It's a cool event. I totally plan on watching it.
Heard somebody attribute it to we had that little 2.8 magnitude earthquake, and they're like, oh, this is when the New Madrid fault, because there's that X with the two eclipse paths. Like this is when the fault's gonna, I'm like, that's a little far fetched, I think.
Yeah. And it's funny we mentioned solar flares and things like that, going back to the AT&T outage.
Yeah.
Like there was this one guy, he was 100% sure it wasn't hackers, it wasn't this, it was, flares from the solar eclipse. And apparently I guess it was maybe a week and a half ago, whatever, we had a cosmic energy burst or something like that was supposed to, hit the earth and stuff like that. And AT&T came out and said, yeah, we got hacked. Or it was a software issue. That's what AT&T
software update issue.
They just said it was our fault. It was a software issue. No hackers, no hackers, no solar flares or anything like that. But yeah, it's all interesting. And to tie back into what you're talking about with Leave the World Behind, I don't think it's a coincidence that the Obamas were behind producing this movie. And now that we have things that are occurring that can be related to things that we were already told about in the movie.
If these things, this is what I want to talk about. If these things are really happening the way that it's being said, it's almost like, well, man, why are you making a movie about it? Why are you putting a movie out so we can all, we're not stupid.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't believe it's that. I think there's something else. You know what I mean?
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
My thought is that legally he can't say anything to the tune of, oh yeah, there are things that you don't know about, and this is what's going on. Like legally, he can't say that as a former sitting president.
Sure.
However, I don't know the rules, but if he is a advisor or producer on an upcoming fictional movie, sometimes reality is stranger than fiction. I think that may be it. Maybe him and Michelle have a concern, about what's going on, what they know about what's going on, but at the same time, they're trying to stay out of prison.
Right.
You know?
So it's a warning.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know what the goal of tearing the bridge down would be. You know what I mean? What is the upside of that? Unless it's a psychological operation.
Well, I would have thought before I learned about the Ohio Bridge, and let's be honest, I just learned about that today. But if you have one bridge that a cargo ship hits, okay, it happened.
Right.
If you have two, Wall Street's going to start paying attention to the way goods and stuff and that are shipped.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if you have an economic downturn because stocks are starting to drop and plunge and everything else because your transportation is not safe the way things are being delivered, it's like train derailments.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have train derailments. People start getting concerned about whether or not their products are going to be making money. And when they do that, you start seeing stocks fall. And I mean, that's really about the only connection that I can make behind that. Now, if next week or 2 weeks from now, another ship happens to crash into a bridge, this is not an everyday thing. Like, this isn't like when the media snagged on to sharks. You know, sharks bite people all the time, you know, but they sensationalized it, you know, so it was a big deal. Ships crashing into bridges, not a common occurrence, you know, not something.
At least we don't hear about it like that.
Yeah, you know, so economic control is about the only way I can think about that. It's kind of like, it's kind of the way I felt about, you know, and yes, I want to take it back to COVID. We shut the country down. We were in financial ruins at that point. You know, I mean, pretty much the entire world was in financial ruins at that point. I think personally, and this is a conspiracy show, so I can share this, COVID was a dry run. COVID was a dry run to a much bigger thing to come about. And I think that some of the things that we're seeing here and some of the things that we see, you know, from Leave the World Behind, you know, you mentioned the Tesla thing earlier. I'm not sure if you mentioned it on the show. Or,
no, I don't think it had happened yet when I had seen it. I don't think the recall.
No,
I don't think
that was after I remember the recall. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, so, you know, things like that. Maybe someone's trying to warn us about stuff. At the same time, we know that there's another power and principality trying to control things. Whether you want to call it the Illuminati, Skull and Bones, whatever you want to call it, you know, there's definitely a one world attempt at a power grab, you know.
Yeah.
So
we're definitely being warned. The Simpsons.
No, you know what?
Did you just see that?
I saw that, but I don't. That could also be an AI thing. I don't know.
Okay.
Did Simpsons? But hold on. Did the now? I know the Simpsons have been things that were legit, like Trump coming down the elevator, announcing that was a real Simpsons thing. There was a couple other things. 9/11. There was some weird imagery on the Simpsons that kind of suggested that. I don't know about that. Is that what you were talking about? The bridge?
We
got to look that one up. Yeah, we got to look that one up. See if that's
2024.
Yeah, because some of that I've heard and read. Some of that was posted happening, and then you know it gets sensationalized on Facebook or wherever.
And I believed it immediately on that.
Well, I mean, some of it's accurate though. Like some of, like you said, the Donald Trump thing. I think there were a couple other things also that were like, there's no way that was, you know, post done, because you can go back to actual air dates.
Right.
Some of the stuff that gets, you know, promoted as fact, you're not going to find it anywhere because there's no air date.
It's not there. Gotcha. Right. So you're just going to find it. Right. Yeah.
So
he's a time traveler. We all know.
You know what?
Well, you know about Barron, right? You know about that whole story,
Yes,
that thing.
yes.
That's weird.
That is really weird. The book.
There's a book like 100 years ago or something, at the end of 1800s or something
like that. Yeah.
And Adventures of Baron Trump, maybe.
Oh,
and he's a time traveler.
No kidding.
And but there's like consistencies with the Trump family and all of the book, and it's really weird.
It's so weird. You're like, what the hell? What the like?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
That's crazy.
The world is nuts right now.
And then there's the Titanic. Not to go too off subject, but the Titanic one. You know about that book? There was a book called Titan. It was like 20 years before the Titanic disaster, and it was about a luxury liner that was the biggest ever in the world, and they called it Titan, and it crashed into an iceberg on its maiden voyage, and people died. This was a book 20 years before the Titanic.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
pretty
crazy.
much describes it to a T, the whole incidents. And have you seen where they're actually they've reconstructed the Titanic from like, brand new, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And they're going to sail it along the same path. And
That's
I'm
still
like,
that Australian Robert Palmer guy, isn't it? That with the white star,
Something
Blue
like
Star
that.
line or something.
White Star, yeah.
The White Star was the original.
Yeah,
Right,
Blue
right,
Star
yeah.
is,
Yeah.
There's that blue word.
Here's
Yeah,
the thing.
that's
You
true.
know what?
That's
There's
true.
no way in hell you're going to get me on that ship. That's
No
just like,
way.
it's just like
I don't want to go on
destiny
any
and-
cruise at all.
Yeah, I don't mind. I've never been on a cruise. Wouldn't mind being on a cruise, but come on. Really?
I bet that movie crashed the cruise ship industry. I bet it was a
Probably
real bummer to
noticeable
them, man.
decline.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
nuts.
after hearing about like that Carnival cruise that they got stranded and lost power, and everybody was
Ugh.
stranded on the ship, and the plumbing was all backing up, and it was basically hell. And I mean, you're stuck on the ship. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
All those
Right.
passengers, you're not leaving.
Right, you're going to
So-
deal with it.
Yeah, I'll pass. Thank
I
you.
love to cruise. Been on several. You either have a great cruise or a horrible cruise. There's never just, oh, that was okay.
Oh, you've been on a lot of them.
I have.
Oh, nice. Yeah. You've had some bad ones?
Well, no, I haven't actually. And my most favorite ones have been Disney.
Oh, yeah. Disney cruise.
And there's like a safety thing about this. Like,
Oh.
I know this ship is right. No, there's
Just
not a
because
lot-
it says Disney?
No,
I'm not
'cause I
gonna
know
die
they're
with
not
Mickey
gonna let
Mouse
little
and-
kids
yeah.
go.
Yeah.
It's little kids.
Mhm.
No.
So a couple of comments here. Taylor says, and I think she makes a good point here. She says the conspiracy is they have to tell us in order for them to do it.
I've heard that before. Yeah. I've heard that
So-
before. If they tell us what they're doing, and that's why they put it in, in movies and pop culture, then they get to escape the karma.
Right.
But
People say-
I don't know where that comes from. I mean, a lot of people say that in conspiracy land and stuff, but I don't know where that exactly comes from. It could come from somewhere. I just don't know where.
That
it comes
is interesting.
From,
Yeah. So Rebecca says it's all symbolic, and yes, we are dumb enough to need the warnings. I agree with that because I think there are a lot of blinded people here in our country that are just our government would never do something like that. I used to be one of them.
No,
Yeah.
they would.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah,
I
they
used
would.
to be one of them.
Yeah, they
And
would.
again, we don't need to go into this today, but what turned my head around on that? 9/11.
Mhm.
Yeah.
9/11 really kind of changed me. And even at that point, I was like, no freaking way. No way. But then when I started looking at like video, like unaltered video, looking at unaltered video, reading, documentaries, looking at pictures and things like that. I'm
Yeah.
like, in my mind, there's no way that the government wasn't behind 9/11
Right.
or 9/11. That's kind of what I believe.
Yeah.
And then, do you know if this is true? Taylor says Nikola Tesla gave his work to Donald J. Trump's uncle.
I heard that. Yes.
Really?
I've heard something like that, but I don't know too much about it.
Yeah, I'd never heard it before. That's interesting. And Rebecca says also being an ego and separate from God and our divinity is the evil. I can see where that kind of be a point, like us thinking too much of ourselves and things like that. So at least I think that's where she's going with it. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a crazy world. And what's even crazier is something you had mentioned, Nick, about P Diddy.
Oh yeah.
The entertainment industry is just kind of like,
Yeah.
man, it's just
that
blown up.
I'll tell you what. If I had $1 million, I would just enjoy my life. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If I had 700 million, I would just spend my money. I'd help people out. I'd go fly around and go to film festivals and art museums and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I would do, man. You know what I mean? I could sex traffic people. You know what I mean? Sell cocaine. Like, what are you trying to? Or gamble?
What the
Like
hell?
Bruno Mars. Supposedly Bruno Mars has this big gambling debt. Like, what? What? You want to make $50 million and $500? Okay. You know what I mean?
Wow. I won at the table.
But
Who
yeah,
cares?
man. Maybe you've all. I've only kind of dove in a little bit with the P Diddy thing, but like there's sex trafficking allegations, and I think all this came out of there was a sexual abuse accusation, and then then it was like another woman said that, and then people started talking. Everybody just started talking about it, and then it was investigated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that was Homeland Security that raided his homes, not just one house,
Yeah.
his houses. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that means that it doesn't matter if he leaves the country, right? If it's Homeland Security, they can like.
Yep.
Is that the case? I'm not sure.
They can work through. They can go get him, or they can. You know what I mean? It's not like the state of Illinois.
I believe
something.
that through Homeland Security, they have worked out some extradition things with other countries.
Yeah, that's where I'm going. Yeah.
That is
That makes
expedited,
sense,
basically.
Mhm.
Working right, just like the government does with everything. Like, you think that the laws and the rules protect you. They don't. There's a way around them every single time, and they're going to use it.
Dude, you go to another country, SEAL Team 6 is coming after your ass.
Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, when, there's so many operations. Like, listen, there's always going to be, even if everything was out in the open, there would always be a conspiracy theory because there have to be secrets. I mean, you can't have everything from your government out in the open. Otherwise, your enemies know everything. So there got to be covert ops and stuff going on, whether they're legitimate or not. That's, left to folks' opinions. I believe most of them probably aren't, but there are going to have to be some secrets, and therefore you're going to have conspiracies,
misdirections and things like that.
The unfortunate thing is that most of the conspiracies have come to fruition, and all the conspiracy theorists are sitting there going like, "We told you," like, "Hey, idiots, we've been screaming it for years," and you're like, "Oh wow, that's a wacko." Get your tinfoil out.
The wackos were right.
Right. And the problem is, when the wackos come up with new ideas, the tin hat foil wearing guys and new theories, they're going to say, you're crazy.
Yeah, right.
You're not. Even the same guys are like,
we weren't last time.
Yeah.
So, I think the P Diddy thing could possibly hit levels of Epstein. Because unfortunately, you do have, and I'm sure you could get psychologists to answer the questions about, you're talking about the $50 million and 500, or whatever. I mean, I'm sure for some people, it's never enough, even the money. So once you have as much money as you would possibly ever need for 2 or 3 lifetimes, what's next?
You get bored with everything.
You do. So
but not everybody goes down that road that has money.
Not.
You know what I mean? But I just don't know why, man. Why?
I
mean, that's probably the only reason I can think of.
Well,
you know what I mean? Is that
why does every lottery winner go completely
broke?
They
go crazy? Yeah.
every time it's like and maybe you don't hear the ones because they just don't publicize
very high
themselves.
Percentage though, yeah.
But it's a very, very high percentage of lottery winners that they end up in massive amounts of debt by the time it's all said and done because they can't quit the lifestyle. It wasn't enough to just pay off the car and the house and get some. Listen, you win the lottery, you want to get all kinds of cool stuff. I get it. But at some point in time, you probably ought to be like, maybe I should get a financial advisor and put some of this stuff away.
Yeah.
Right.
I have so many interests. My interests are in going places and seeing things, not really in accumulating
Me
things.
too.
You know what I mean? I'm fine with one house.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know that I like one house, like you said, is probably more than good enough because I just want to travel around.
Yeah, I would have an apartment in New York City just
there
to
you
keep
go.
it there. Yeah.
Okay.
I just love New York.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna have me a condo down in
Is that-
Naples.
Okay, yeah. Okay, 2 houses.
You're a snowbird.
I have friends down in Naples. I know some friends down in
I
Naples.
love
They love it.
Naples.
Yeah. Yeah. It's beautiful.
One of our friends has actually moved back here. Did you know he moved back?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Why would you ever move back after you escaped?
I know. Living in Naples, he's back here. He moved back during the coldest. Remember, we had that blizzard conditions a month ago.
January,
that was the weekend he moved back.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah. So Taylor's asking. Let's see. Just a couple of years ago, Disney was under fire for a bunch of employees who were arrested for some kind of sex trafficking.
Yep.
She doesn't remember details, but it's always people you don't expect.
Yeah. I just heard some. Sorry. Go on.
No, you're fine.
I just heard something about Disney. Did that? Who said?
Taylor,
did you hear anything else about Disney recently? Because I heard something about something.
Well, the whole Nickelodeon thing just went
Nickelodeon. That's what it was. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, that's what I'm
Quiet
thinking
on the Set is the name of that documentary.
Yeah.
I've watched a little bit of it.
Yeah.
And I watched Keenan Wayans. What's his last name?
Keenan Ivory Wayans.
No, he was from
Keenan Thompson.
Keenan Thompson.
Yeah.
Good Burger.
SNL.
Yeah. But yeah, he was on there, and he was he didn't really see anything. But I mean, if you watch him and the the look on his face, his disposition really changes when he starts talking about this, because they're talking about this book that he wrote, right? And then he gets asked this question about this guy. Is it Dan something or whatever?
Schneider or something like that. Yeah.
You know, they're talking to him, and he gets like really somber and just kind of like, he's just like, you can just see his disposition changing, especially with what was when they start talking specifically about Amanda Bynes. You know, so it's really, and if you think, this gives me kind of goosebumps thinking about it, because she went off the deep end, man.
Yes,
she
like,
sure did.
She just woo, and everyone was wondering what the hell is wrong with this girl, and now we're coming to find out this guy may have had actually, you know, something to do with that.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm waiting for more of this investigation.
This could be a whole thing that ties in a lot of stuff. You know what I mean?
It could.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could. The entertainment industry is full of sick, twisted, and evil people.
Yeah.
But you're never going to get the whole story. It's just going to go away.
Yeah, it always does.
It always just goes away.
You know what, though?
Money makes it go away.
But then I think, what were they distracting us? Why were they distracting us?
Are you sure that's what you think it is?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, even the Jeffrey Epstein thing, what has really come of that? I mean, we're never going to know if he killed himself or if somebody got to him.
Right.
She's in prison. So far, she's been there for what? A year, 2 years? Where's this list? Because it sure hasn't been published.
It'll never get published. And it ties back into the entertainment industry.
So I'm saying I don't think anything's ever going to come of it. What is the purpose of
you
it?
probably won't, because there's probably so many names on that list and so many interests, and it's like, okay, well, if you're going, you know, it could be like this. Well, you know, your name is on there too, so you know, or this person's name on it, so you better be quiet about my name being on there because
yours is on there too.
or I got you for this over here.
Well, here's the thing that we know for a fact, though. First of all, whether he killed himself or he was killed, that man was guilty of something.
Or
something.
He was taken out of the situation. Not killed, not dead.
That's quite possible.
Okay, I can go
I've thought of that
yeah.
before.
I can go with you on that. But my point is something heinous and terrible happened there to either A, cause him to want to kill himself, if he did.
I think we have to say
B,
on a live on some of these platforms.
Oh yeah.
What?
So don't to not
we have
use
to say unalive
instead of the word
the
we're
K
using,
word.
Yeah.
Or D word, you know. Right.
No kidding.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She's not wrong.
No, I can believe she's not wrong. Before we end the show, I'll tell you some of the horse shit we're dealing with Facebook right now.
So I just don't want to get any deeper.
So anyway, before he was unalived, what? Oh my! It makes me sick. I'm not even kidding. Anyway, the guy is no longer existent. How's that? Can I say that?
Yep.
The guy no longer exists on planet Earth. But anyway, there was either guilt, shame, or purpose behind his disappearance from the planet. That tells us that something happened. Now, when you look at that, for something that drastic to have occurred, then there's other people involved in that. Okay, so you have other people involved, and if you look at the pictures of the people that man surrounded himself with, and you look at some of the other people in that, politicians, actors, Oprah's in almost all. I mean, she is like in a lot of those pictures and stuff like that. I mean, there are very powerful people that this man was around. I think we're actually going to start hearing more and more about this, because I will give this to the millennial generation, the Gen Zers, and are we at Gen Alpha now? Is that?
I don't know where we're at. I mean, I just love everyone,
Yeah, but a lot of these people are shifting gears on this, and they're like, "Look, we're not going to do this anymore." I was actually thinking about this the other day. I've noticed a lot of younger people, and that are not as like back when we were in high school. There were bullies, jerks, a-holes, things like that, because it was this big machismo thing going on, right? You don't really see that much anymore. You see people being a lot more sensitive to people a lot more, you can't say that. And even with the cancel culture, whatever, they're canceling people because they're being insensitive, they're being wrong, and they're involved in stuff that's just not cool. I think that as we move forward a little bit longer, we're going to actually hear more and more about this. I don't think we're ever going to hear the total truth, but I think we are going to hear more and more about this, which I think hopefully is going to turn the tide a little bit, where people are going to think twice before they take a little girl or a little boy off into a private room.
I think
they're going to,
Oh, sure.
I think that
that's
Epstein-
that is a good point. That is something good that will come out of this. Yeah.
I think you're absolutely right about that. But I think Epstein was not running the operation that folks think he was running. I think the general population thinks that he was just providing a service, which was you come sleep with underage children.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Epstein was doing that, but not for just, hey, I'm providing the service. You guys are all
Right.
pedophiles. You want this. It was, come to my island. Here's a bunch of beautiful women or men.
Mm-hmm.
Sleep with them. Oh, by the way,
We have video footage. Now.
yeah. So now we own
Yeah.
you because, I mean,
That's what I think. He was
I
set
believe, yep.
up to compromise people. Yeah.
Exactly, because then it doesn't matter who you are, whether you're royalty or the president of the United States
Yeah.
or a multi-billionaire or whatever. I have footage of you doing something that would put you in prison for a long time.
Yeah.
And I
Now you're mine.
applaud the Queen of England for what she did.
Oh, absolutely.
With,
Oh, yeah.
with Prince
Yeah.
Andrew. I applaud
Absolutely.
her, that she
Mhm.
did it, because she was like, look, we're pretty sure that what you're being accused of is true. So see it.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I didn't expect her to take that
Mhm.
path and do that. I'm glad.
Make no mistake, she was still his mommy. She was handing him
Oh,
some money on the side. You know,
I don't know, man. I've heard some stories about the Queen. I obviously don't know her personally or whatever, but from what I've heard, when she's done with you, she's done with you. And I
Yeah.
mean, it takes a lot.
She had a ruthless side for sure.
Yeah, it takes a lot to strip you of your royalty.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was
that
crazy.
was a move. That was a bold move.
Yeah, Taylor says, look at the new Nickelodeon logo. It looks just like Epstein Island.
It does. She sent
No,
me a picture.
really?
It does. Yeah.
Does it really?
It's
Wow.
like a splat, and the island looks just like it.
Speaking of logos, on the day of the eclipse, CERN,
Uh-huh.
the CERN, they're going to
Yeah.
turn on their hydrogen collider or whatever on the day, their particle collider. Is that
yeah,
right?
yeah.
They're going to turn that on the day of the eclipse.
No, God.
Now, some people think that people have thought they're opening a portal to hell and all kinds of things in the past. Look at the CERN logo. It's 666.
Mm-hmm.
My God. It's 666.
Some things some things are so blatant, that it's not even fun. Let's talk about logos for a moment. Now, I'm a Monster drinker. Okay. I drink
Oh,
Monster.
there you go, man. Yeah.
Are you familiar with the Monster
I am.
thing?
Yeah.
Those are,
It's the Hebrew letter for 6.
yeah, and
Mhm.
boom,
Or the
boom,
Hebrew
yeah.
number for 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
And
it's
lock the beast within or something like that.
Unleash
or
the Beast.
Unleash the
Or is
Beast.
that Old Milk? is
Yeah,
that
like
them?
Unleash the Beast. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's, I mean, just some of it's just so blatant, and it's just like,
Well, Disney, if you see the little curly cues in the word Disney,
Mm-hmm.
they're 6s. You ever
really.
notice that?
Mm-mm.
Never paid attention.
Anytime, even the Disney store has just the curly cues up, like 666. It's crazy. Look at can you punch it up?
Yeah, let me go look. Hold on.
That's crazy, man.
Or just Google like satanic logos. There's this one that if you talk about it, you will get sued. And I
Can you allude to it?
God, I think I'm just going to message it to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know that about the K word. That surprises me.
No,
That really surprises me.
that's hold on. Let me.
Oh, you got it up there, huh?
There it is.
Okay, I just sent you what that is. Yeah, look at it. See it?
Hold
I
on. I'm
think
gonna put
you
it
can't
on.
unsee
up for
it
people.
again.
He's gonna
Another
put
thing you
it
can't
up there.
unsee.
Right.
Yep, I gotta put it up for people. Give me a second, guys.
The CERN one too. The CERN one is just crazy. A lot of nudity in old cartoon, like Disney cartoons. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Always a little kid showing his butt. There's always something like that in old-fashioned cartoon Disney cartoons. It's always like a his pants fell down or something like that. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah, I've noticed that. I was
Yeah.
watching. They've got a new Minions movie that's out, right?
Uh-huh.
And it's like when Gru was like a teenager or something. That Gru's like, Gru is. He's like the big guy, the main
oh, okay. I don't know.
evil
Yeah.
master, right?
Mhm.
Well, I noticed that about the Minions movie. Like one of them was stuck in a toilet or something like that, or stuck in something, and like you could see his bottom, showing. I mean, it is an odd thing to put in a kids movie.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah, but no, I remember even when we were kids, like the Disney thing. Let's get back to Disney. You talk about all the characters, they would wear like tops. Hardly any of them really wore bottoms.
Yep.
They all were, but if you see them get out of the shower, they have a towel wrapped around their waist.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's weird stuff like that. Indicating that below is things that you shouldn't see.
Right.
However, walking around, as long as you got a shirt on, you're okay. So
okay, so they are showing you. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's really crazy.
Yeah, a lot of occult stuff in logos.
Yeah.
If you like just Google satanic logos, you'd be really surprised at what comes up.
Oh yeah.
So Jesse puts on here. You want to go and throw that up there for me, Bill? So basically, the mark of the beast is nothing so obvious, but I think it is telling that companies and artists are embracing symbols that are tied to evil. I mean, and whether it's marketing or not that they're doing, man, that's some dangerous fire you're playing with, And I mean, if you're a heaven and hell believing person, then I mean, I don't know. It's really odd that people do embrace that kind of thing.
People are constantly talking about the mark of the beast. They did it with credit cards when they first came
out. Oh
yeah,
and
it's been said about the EMV chips and chips in general and stuff. But the thing is, I truly believe that it's something that will be just widely embraced, and the only folks that will know are the true believing Christians, and they'll refuse it. But it'll be something that's normal. Like, oh, why wouldn't you want to get the implant? Or whatever that turns out to be. I'm not saying that implants are going to be the mark of the beast, but why wouldn't you want to get the mark? It's stylish and everybody's got it. It's going to be widely accepted.
Yeah, it's not going to be, obviously it won't be called, the mark.
No,
but no. I mean, you think about it, and conspiracy show, we can go out on limbs, right? We can just kind of stretch out. Think about money, though. Okay, I know that we're going to primarily a cashless society, so cards and things like that. But think about money. All of our money has like faces on it. In each country, your money has a face on it.
Mm-hmm.
When it gets to a one world government, a one world leader, and then Christianity, there's a ruler of the 10 kingdoms, right? And then that's down the line, and you have the 10 kingdoms, you have a ruler, and who's to say that like that ruler who is purported to be the Antichrist isn't on our currency and things like that. We can have different denominations, but if that person's face is on each denomination, whether it be a coin or whatever, think of back in Rome when people were saying that Caesar was the Antichrist. Whose face was on the money?
Caesar.
Yeah, he was on the coins and all the money, So I mean, that's just one way, to kind of look at it or whatever. But anyway,
what do you think?
I don't know. I think if you look hard enough, you're going to find it. If it's with anything. So if your mindset is that there's a conspiracy, you're going to look hard enough and you're going to find it.
Yeah.
But it can't be a coincidence all the time. There's got to be something there.
Mm-hmm.
I think it all ties in.
It does.
At some point.
I don't always think it's what we think it is, though.
Yeah. I think with this movie that I brought up and talking about the bridge and the message of the Tesla and all that stuff, I think there is an interest to make us think something is going on, something evil is going on, when maybe something evil is not going on behind that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And perhaps there's a big empire that runs everything, and they have to scare us to keep us in line. I don't know.
Well, aren't they going to be surprised with this new generation that just don't scare?
Yeah, they don't care about nothing.
No, we ruined them.
No.
This is the bad part that I see kind of about this. I think for the most part, Gen Xers have a kiss my ass attitude.
Yep.
For the most part. I think that the downside to the three generations I mentioned earlier, you know, the millennials, the Gen Zers, and I think there's an alpha now. I don't know.
And
Maybe
what
I'm wrong.
age
But
group would
There
that
is. You're
be?
right. I just don't
Okay.
know where it's at.
But I think that the downside to that is that they are a very go with the flow kind of thing. You know, it's almost like, I'm not saying they're going to be reliant on the government or whatever, but it's very go with the flow. If you're in line, we're going to give you what you want, things like this. And I think that that's probably one of the downfalls of those generations, is that we're going to have just a lot of kind of like, oh, you know, okay, you're telling us this. Well, we trust you, you know, and you're providing for me. I've got my you know, I've got all my free health insurance. I've got my check coming in every month.
Universal
like
basic
that,
income. Yeah.
Yeah, to the point it becomes almost like they tell you not to feed the animals at the zoo for a reason, you know, because if you and I feed the zebras or whatever, then the zebra's going to be like, oh, this guy gave me a hot dog. They're just giving me grass over here. I want the hot dog, you know?
Right.
But if you get reliant enough on the grass all the time, you have no desire for the hot dog because you've got everything else. It's just like everything's provided for you.
Yep.
So you're going to stay in line. You know, you're not going to buck the system or whatever. And I think that may be one of the downfalls to the future generations. There's positives and then there's negatives.
I also think that we're not seeing, like, there's always complaints about, oh, this should be taught in schools and that should be taught in schools. But I think we're not seeing a lot of this stuff taught in schools by design, partially to kind of maybe dumb down what they care about. Like,
100%.
Because if I don't know anything about that or I'm not educated, then how am I going to be pissed off about it when you come out and you're like, yeah, well, this is what we're doing. Okay, cool. As long as I can keep getting my hot Cheetos and Mountain Dew, I'm set. you know, like.
Well, I think that goes back decades, even to the point where schools were teaching men, this is what you do. Women, this is what you do.
Sure.
Men, this is what you should expect to get paid. Women, if you're not working in a home, this is what you should expect to get paid. And, you know, I don't want to get into the whole, you know, gender pay gap. And then I've got multiple thoughts and opinions on that, which would surprise some people because I do believe there's a pay gap. Sure. However, I think that, and I'm not going to get into that.
I think it's being calculated wrong.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's being calculated wrong. But we are trained from grade school on up in a public school system to think and believe a specific way. And then when you get to colleges or universities, you're taught to believe a specific way.
Yep.
You know, and that's what society is like now. And I think a lot of people are looking at, not everyone needs to go to college. You know, college is not for everybody, you know, and so people are starting to see things a little differently now than what they did before. A lot of high school students, I'm not going to high school to go to college. I'm going to high school so I can go to a trade school, or I'm going to high school so I can, you know, learn, you know, to do something different, or I'm going to high school just to get out of high school, you know, like that, you know. So I think that the whole social engineering, I think has started, you know, way back when we were in grade school, if not, you know, in kindergarten or whatever. And I'm so glad that, you know, people are starting to see things differently now, you know. And I do think in some ways that the government is trying to figure out, how do we fix this? You know, how do we get people back to a point where they're thinking the way we need them to think? Because I want to mention something now that I know is going to throw red flags, but it's fine. Have you guys ever heard of sovereign citizenship?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yes. Have you heard of sovereign citizenship?
No.
Oh, boy.
Look into it, and I promise you'll want to talk about it.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Show.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Those two words alone are quite possibly going to get us flagged here, because the government does not like when you talk about sovereign citizenship. Basically, just to kind of to drill it down in like I guess maybe a 3-minute not even 3 minutes, but basically it's where you become kind of your own leader. You don't answer to the rules of the government. You kind of answer to your own rules. Now there are trade-offs with that. You don't get entitled to government benefits either.
Right.
You know, but I mean, it's really a crazy theory. And it just kind of starts about like when you're born, the government actually takes a loan out on you.
Yeah.
You know, and that loan is backed by the fact that you're going to work, but the bet that you're going to work a certain amount of years that your taxes are going to pay off that loan. And, you know, in that exchange, you get government benefits. You don't pay road taxes. You don't pay state taxes. You don't pay government taxes, things like that. but in exchange, you don't get any of the benefits that the government offers either.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know. So anyway,
Interesting.
take a look at what's
Yeah, I will.
sovereign
I will. Yeah,
citizenship.
That's a
talk about
deep
that.
rabbit hole.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
Oh, yeah.
it's huge. It's huge. Yeah, I actually learned about it from a guy. How old shall we? 20 years ago,
Oh.
I guess,
okay.
and we were talking about it, and I did a little digging into it. And I'm like, holy crap! Yeah,
Half
government
the
doesn't like-
problem with the YouTube videos that you see where people get pulled over and they claim they're sovereign citizens, though, is that they start quoting parts of the Articles of Confederation that were superseded by the Constitution,
Right.
and you know, they claim that they're free inhabitants and they're able to travel freely, and basically all the BS that they're uneducated about, but
Right.
they're bought into it. That's the problem. Like, you can't tell them anything different.
Yeah.
And they go through the court system, and they're just completely disrespectful to judges, and they never win.
Right.
There's no legal precedent for you to be able to operate a motor vehicle and travel freely. You know, even if that was being discussed in the Articles of Confederation, which I've not read, but they would be talking about the technology of the times, which would be like, you know, horses or something. Like, I can travel. You can't stop me from traveling between states, you know, because I'm a free inhabitant or whatever that looks like, on your horse, not in your motor vehicle on federally maintained roads and
Right.
with rules and regulations.
It's
and,
very
yeah,
weird.
It's so, yeah.
Yeah, it's very weird, but it's a thing.
Yeah.
Jesse says there is a prevailing ideology within academia that has been at work for decades.
Yep.
I agree 100%.
Mhm.
All the way back to the 40s and 50s, where they were teaching, you know, women to be the little lady at home, barefoot and pregnant, and men, you go out and you wear a construction hat all day long, or you carry your briefcase around with your little fedora, you know. But
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
Was
so-
that a bad thing, though? I mean,
It's not a bad thing if
It was
you.
a
There
simple
was some bad
time.
things about it. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a nice time. Supposedly, it was a nice time for some people.
I think it's
Yeah,
a,
but
You know,
see,
it was not a nice time for
It's a
everybody.
bad thing for the unity of family and the freedom of women.
Billy Joel has a
Yeah.
line in one of his songs. It's only the good day young. The good
The
old
good
days
old
weren't
days.
always.
I love that line.
Yeah, the good old
Go
days
ahead.
weren't always good, but tomorrow ain't as bad as it seems.
Love it,
Mhm.
man.
Yeah, I mean, it's an awesome line because it's true. You think crap's being hidden now? I mean, stuff was
ideally,
swept-
though, the ideal part of that, though, is how families lived and lived well.
The good.
on
That's the good part
one
about it.
Yeah.
That is the
income.
good part about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Harvard
and have
education
a
back in the
house
day
and a
was like
loan and a
$2,000
car and
a
stuff
year.
like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
what is it? 40 years ago, a Harvard education was like
Yeah.
$2,000 a year. There's no
That's
freaking way.
crazy.
I mean,
They
you're,
still wouldn't have accepted me. So
yeah. But that's the point. And here's the thing I'll say about antiquated ideologies. Okay, and that's the word I'm going to use because I think that back in the day, and it's going to make me sound like a feminist, but you know, I'm not. But I think back in the day, women were underappreciated. They were I guess underappreciated is probably the best word to use, and they were undervalued because there are some very, very smart women that are out there,
Mhm.
but they were not taught or raised to be smart, strong, independent women. And men were taught to not respect that either. I've got young ladies in my life, and I want all of them to grow up, and I want them to be strong, independent, respectful women of other people, and I want them to be able to live their life to the fullest. I don't think that was done back then. Have you seen the movie Hidden Figures?
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's a great movie.
It's a great movie, and it's all about how women were primarily responsible for sending us to the moon.
Mhm.
You know,
what is this?
And
yeah, it's
black
called-
women.
Black
Hidden
women.
Figures.
Yep.
Yeah,
Hidden
Hidden
Figures.
Figures is the name of the
I gotta
movie.
See that one.
Yeah, go watch that.
It's
worth
a
it.
great movie. So, to your point, was it a bad thing? No, I think that there were some good things about, traditional
Mhm.
living back then. I just think that I think that it could have been passed on generation to generation in a much more positive, affirming way for women.
Well, and I don't have any problem with people that choose that lifestyle. Like, listen,
Yeah,
If-
absolutely not.
if you want to be a stay-at-home mom and do nothing and just do your own thing, that's cool. But that's a choice now. Back then,
Right.
it was that's what you're going to do.
Right.
Otherwise,
Right.
you're going to be the crazy cat lady that everybody doesn't like.
Right.
You don't get to go out and be a NASA astronaut. You know, when they're sitting in school and they're like, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? And little Timmy's like an astronaut, and little Jessica's like, me too. The teacher's like, yeah, I don't think so.
You need to find a good man
Right.
to marry.
Right. You need to find an
You
astronaut.
need to marry little Timmy. Is
Right.
what they were
Yeah. Look,
telling
he's
back
got
then.
aspirations. You've got crazy dreams. You know, like
Yeah.
that's the way that was, and it's not like that anymore. I think if that's a choice you want to make, go for it. Absolutely. If that dynamic works, but if you have the choice now, is my thing. You didn't have the choice back then.
Yeah. So, Nick, I know you got a bolt, man.
Yeah,
We appreciate
It's
you
always
being here.
wonderful.
Yes.
Absolutely.
it's always a pleasure. Sorry, it's always a pleasure, and I hope you're all doing good. So
Doing great.
I
Thank you, my
appreciate you
friend.
Awesome.
all.
Be safe out
Thanks,
there.
sir.
See you next month.
Or before. We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Thanks, Nick.
Bye.
So yeah, I do believe that even today on some levels that, you know, women are underappreciated, undervalued, because let's be honest, there are some women out there that can do a much better job than some man could. You know, I mean, that's kind of the way I believe. Now, I still believe in the hierarchy of the home, you know, but I believe that for the most part, you know, that women got screwed back in the day.
I would have lived well during that time. I'm sure of it.
Yeah. I have another friend who loves that. And, you know, I think that that's awesome. She would love to do nothing more than, you know, wear her skirt, be in a home, cleaning and making a home for her husband. And I 100% respect her for that, you know, because that's what she wants to do. Like, that's her
Ward was
ideal life.
nothing without June. The Cleavers. Ward was nothing without June, right?
Yeah. Well, and you know, like I said, if that's the role that you aspire to do, then absolutely.
Yeah.
She just had a way of making the decisions be his decisions.
Well, yeah.
You know,
That's because women are smart.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Women are freaking smart.
So why would you not want them in leadership positions and doing important things?
yeah, and we're there. I think, you know, we
Yeah.
got, but I know personally, I would have done well as a 50-ish wife. Absolutely. The one car, one income, 2.2 kids. Yeah.
Aren't you a 50-ish wife now?
I wish. I wish.
That was a bad joke on my part. I don't think she caught it. It's all right. So, all right, what's going on this weekend?
Well,
this week?
Hey, city council tomorrow night. You can bitch on Facebook about all kinds of crazy things, but there's the place to really come and
There you go.
get you a seat. What else we got going? The Alfresco has Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in their newest theater inside the theater, the Black Box. It's called The Alley, and it is debuting a company called Monkey Noodle. Have I got that about right, Bill?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure
Where
if I
is
got all the
this?
terminology.
Where's this in the theater?
What used to be the stage, the actor's door, right
Mhm.
off of whatever street that is. That is now the entrance. So as you walk inside, you're gonna make a very fast left, and you are in an authentic Black Box theater.
Oh,
Ticket
nice.
booth, concessions, the whole works.
I had no idea. That's
Uh,
awesome.
Yeah, and that is now called The Alley. So that is Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Also, for anybody that is interested in the Christmas tree, the Christmas lighting fundraiser that's been going on,
Mhm.
that is also this Wednesday, I believe at 7:00. You can find any of the Facebook groups, and they'll tell you at Pizza World if you want to say so. If you want to be
Okay.
a part of that, that's the place to go.
All right.
That's Thursday night, I meant, on the 4th. That's about it.
Now, coming up at Alfresco, was it May 4th, trivia night?
Yes, that's going to be a lot of fun.
Okay.
We still have some few tables left. A few surprises to come Thursday night. So if you're out and about, you might want to stop by the Speakeasy for a drink.
All right.
You can't always tell what's going on there. You just got to
And if you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
All right, a couple comments here before we go. Miss Rebecca says, yeah, we are. And don't you forget it, Mr. Chuck Hill.
Wow.
I will not forget that. I love this woman. I'm telling you, she's definitely smarter than me. So, and then Facebook user, don't know who that is. I think it's Tim or Justin, because says, Chuck, I don't know if you know, but I think people are doing podcasts without you about hockey and Star Wars.
Yeah, that you didn't take the thing down behind you either.
Oh, I didn't? Oh, yeah. That's okay. It's behind Kim also.
Yeah.
They've left their mark everywhere.
Welcome to In the Metro and promoters of the Mostly Hockey podcast. That's mostly hockey, guys. Apparently there's Star Wars going on also.
We like them.
Yeah, they're good guys. Check them out here on Thursday nights, actually. Are they 7 or 7:15?
I don't know. So
I can't remember. That's terrible. We're
well,
terrible.
I know. I think it's 7:15, but I'm sure that he can let me know in our comments here in just a minute. So, yeah, I think that's kind of going to be it. I'm going to go off on a Facebook tirade, and then we're going to be out of here.
Oh, my gosh. Here we go.
So, yeah, not really a tirade. I just want to let you guys know that most of you guys, some of you are probably watching on my personal profile tonight. And that's because, believe it or not, Facebook will not allow us to stream from the actual show page. A lot of YouTubers out there are upset about this. A lot of Facebook users are upset about it. They made some kind of change that disqualifies us from going live on our own page. We think it might be a number of followers. So if you are following us or if you're watching the show tonight, go over to In the Metro GCRX and just kind of follow the page and like us, whatever, because we'd like to be able to use our own page that's dedicated to the show. We love broadcasting on the 62040 and then GCRX main podcast page. And we love coming to you guys live from here at Studio B in downtown Granite. But, we're hoping that they make some changes. I know that StreamYard has the podcast platform that we use has, reached out to Facebook and they're like, hey, what's going on? Because nobody really knows. But anyway, just one more reason that it's irritating to rely on Facebook. But anyway, that's kind of it.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else.
Got nothing.
Nope.
Nothing?
No.
All right. Hey, guys, thanks for joining us. We'll be here next week, 7:15 again. We're going to have Pastor Jesse Tedder on here. He was pretty active this evening talking about it. I have a feeling we're going to talk about End of Times again. But the primary focus of next week's show is going to be the big solar eclipse. So if the world ends before 7:15, well, you'll know what happened. So we'll see you guys.
We won't be live if that happens.
Right. It'll be a rebroadcast for no one to watch.
Right, exactly.
So we will see you guys next Monday at 7:15. Thanks a lot and have a great week.